1 point for satisfactory completion and 0 points for non-satisfactory completion. No partial credit was given. So here we were comparing some of our most significant data to what we're looking for. In the maximizer results, what we have is their perceived success in skill transfer, or how they believe their knowledge of one software package helped you to transition to the other. We compared it to the scores in the actual test. Same for the max results. As you can see, we have they both show a very positive trend. And in this data, we have a lot of subjects that fell within this range. This is due to the fact that on this testing day, we had a large number of participants that came in with little to no experience in either software package, and we had virtually no max students come in on that testing day, which is what we were hoping for. And again, what we have here are what they believe their knowledge was, the perceived skill in one software package compared to the actual scores on how they did on the test. So in the Max day, they believe their perceived Maya skill compared to the scores on the Max test. As you can see, these are the results that we were really hoping to see. We have a very positive correlation in a lot of numbers in this area, which show that people who believe they have strong skills in Maya perform very well on the Max day, on the Max task. The Max to Maya day, again, we didn't see exactly what we wanted to see, and we were imparting this. We believe this is due to the fact that, again, we had very few participants who knew Max that came in on this testing day, and we had a lot of participants with little to no experience in either software. So what we're hoping to achieve from this is we're hoping that eventually further work can be done on this study. We're hoping that whoever picks up this study will use our methodology as an example, and perhaps get the participants that we wanted to see in the first place. We recommended some screening issues, because one of the issues we did have, we had some participants who had Maya knowledge also show up on the Max to Maya day, which threw off our data. So we would recommend a screening procedure for that. Other than that, we're just really hoping this takes off, and this will help CGT graduates who are seeking employment, so that they can use this study to help their employment prospects. This concludes our presentation, other than all the sources that we used, and we're going to move into our Q&A session. Yes, sir.
You may have said it and I may have missed it. Can you say a little bit more about the company where you did your internship and what kind of animations they were doing, who were they employing?
Yeah, they are a small business media production company. There's probably less than 15 employees that actually work there. But they basically do pre-production all the way to post. They do camera stuff. They do animation for like television commercials. So ad agencies will a lot of times come to them, who other bigger companies have hired who want commercials produced, and they'll take it all the way from shooting of video to post-production. They do animation.
Okay, so I can make the assumption that they're really not into character animations, all right?
Not so much. They do a lot of like product visualization and like animating factory procedures and stuff like that in Max.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation? You've done the study. would you say that people with, and I think maybe reflectively, that people with, I don't know, adequate to moderate Maya skill could easily learn and transfer to?
I think our data supports that. As far as Maya to Max transfer, I think we got a lot better data because we had a lot more participants who knew Maya than knew Max. So I think it does show that if you know, I think it does start to show maybe these numbers could have been a little bit lower, and if we would have got more participants, maybe we could have seen that a little bit better. But as far as their skill at the beginning and how they did in the task is pretty good. So I would say yeah, we're starting to definitely say that if you know Maya, you can learn Max. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough Max people, so we can't really say either way on that. But even this doesn't even have to really stay in animation for a legacy project. Other groups in there's plenty of other specializations in CGT who could say, oh, we want to compare these two softwares and see if skills can transfer between comparable softwares. So we think there's potential in the future. Yeah.
It seemed like the steps that you were having them do in each of the softwares were, probably on a scale of 1 to 10, that was probably, a fairly easy task. Like, where does it start to go apart when you have more complicated things that you're doing with the software? And how easy would that knowledge transfer? Is it still?
Okay, I'll take that. The scope of our study was analyzing the skill set, particularly of animation, basic animation skills. We decided to cover the basic animation skill as opposed to, we could have covered everything in the software, but there would be absolutely no way we could fit all the participants in a small time frame to do something like that. So, are there harder tasks? Definitely, but time consumption, this is the route to go. Did that answer your question?
And again, that's another possibility for legacy projects. We only looked at animation, so other groups could pick up and say, oh, we want to look at texturing, we want to look at this, we want to look at that. So that's always a possibility.
Yes, sir.
For people that had no experience at all using either of the programs, was it hard for them to pick it up at all? Like, and do the stuff that people that actually had experience do it?
I'll take that. So most of the people that had little to no experience came on the Max to Maya day. And actually, if you see, so they believe they didn't have a whole lot of Max skill, but they transferred to Maya. These are people that had little to no experience, mind you. So they had little to no experience, and they did really well in the Maya task. So I believe yes is the answer to your question. Yes, sir.
Is the kind of the overarching goal is it to give students confidence to apply for jobs they might not otherwise apply for or consider?
Yes, that's one goal of this, and it's also for employers too, so that if this eventually becomes published, that person applying for a job that requires that they say we want someone who knows how to animate in 3ds Max. Someone with my experience currently can say, well, we don't have a whole lot of Max experience, but this study shows that we can pick up Max fairly easily with minimal training. So it's a mutual benefit for both employers and students. Yes, sir.
I have you go back to one of your first slides where you gave the definition of knowledge.
Sure.
Because I didn't hear it. Could you say it again what your definition of knowledge was?
Sure. There we go.
I can't read it from you.
Oh,
What's the definition of
okay.
knowledge?
The knowledge as it relates to our research, more specifically described as knowledge in technology. And what was the quote that you said?
I wanted to hear what your definition of knowledge was.
Well, knowledge in technology is what we